If you're going to win your first major, you might as well do it with a green jacket, Sergio. So bravo. I mean, I think everyone was thrilled for this guy to finally win.
Yes. And you know what? I think the Masters always inspires people to go out and at least try golf.
Anything.
Right?
If you go
so beautiful.
When you watch the Olympics, all of a sudden you think you can be this athlete. You know,
you're a swimmer, you're a runner. Yes, indeed. All right. So maybe not today or tonight, Minneapolis, because yes, we've got snow in the forecast, but it gets warmer as we get through midweek.
All right. So here's a look at the forecast. Now, Jen mentioned here's the snow into South Dakota. This is the low that's coming in, and behind it we get spring on the front, snow on the back. It's kind of like the mullet of weathers, if you will, type of a thing. So that's going to be just a quick shot tonight, and that's going to be it.
We have 8 inches of snow right now across western South Dakota. That's not what we're going to get in Minnesota. It's much lighter. It's wet snow. Temperatures are marginal enough to get us the snowfall, but then we warm up so fast you'll forget about it before the week is over.
Right, 15 to 25 degrees above average in the Northeast, and that's through the entire East Coast.
And that's where records are going to fall. Morning lows, more morning lows, and then a couple of maybe highs too.
Yeah, it's going to be close for a lot of them too. So here's a look at the spring. You see, it's not just the East Coast. It's stretching for the whole bit of the country. So finally, we're seeing warmer temperatures.
All right, so temperatures for tomorrow, we get to 60 in Des Moines, 55 in Chicago. It's actually warmer right now in Chicago, 67 degrees. So the front comes through, we cool down, but only to average.
Yeah, so as we look at tomorrow, we're going to be even above average for us here into the Midwest.
Wednesday's warm.
Wednesday is a warm day here, relatively speaking. Chicago, our average is 57. So we're going to be above that for the extended period.
You take a look at that. I mean, look, the lows are not bad. 40s, that Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, mid to low 40s. That's it for the low temperature, and then mid to upper 60s for the high temperature.
All right, Kelly.
All right, guys, warm, dry.
I got to get going on that. Yeah, the year is just flying by. All right, we were just talking about golf. Today, actually, the Monday after the Masters in Myrtle Beach, South Carolina. Hootie and the Blowfish started that event years ago. It's a charity event. Lots of celebrities come. Colt Floyd is going to be there. Darius Rucker will be there. Jim Cantore is there as well. So that's happening today. Good weather for it. And good weather actually stays there pretty much all week long in the Southeast. I mean, if you're spring breaking in Hilton Head or Folly Beach, what a week. You guys are having fantastic weather. Temperatures in the 80s. Of course, we do have a couple of rounds of thunderstorms that come in, especially up toward the upper Midwest. It's a busy week weather-wise for you.
Exactly. We are going to see them and the problems that they're going to cause, anywhere from lower Michigan back into St. Louis.
All right, so we have a large red area from Saginaw, Michigan, right back down to St. Louis. Storms are rolling into Michigan this morning. They may have some hail or gusty winds, but the ones later today actually pack more of a punch.
Yeah, so here we go today. We do have a little upper level disturbance. We do have some, winds,
but some stronger, enough to help get things going.
Yeah.
It's not going to be a big severe outbreak, but whenever there's just a little extra wind energy in the atmosphere, you got to watch out for severe.
Okay, so also a front at the surface is going to fire up. I mean, look, there's moisture coming in from the Pacific over Texas, but we're getting some from the Gulf of Mexico. It's coming up.
Winds have been from the south all night. It's why you're so warm. It's why thunderstorms are racing up here through Wisconsin and Michigan this morning. So there is moisture returning, and dew points, while it's somewhat limited right now, will come back this afternoon, getting closer to 60, which is good enough, plenty good enough.
Yeah, I mean, they need to be mid-50s and higher, and we're seeing that this morning, and then they're going to get, a little bit higher as we head into the afternoon hours.
Just side note, look at the dew points in Texas, mid to upper 60s. Tons of moisture there. Heavy rain is going to be your bigger threat with thunderstorms today. But let's talk more about these severe chances and the timing getting into, the afternoon hours here into northern Illinois and then eventually into Michigan.
Okay, so from the surface about 5,000 feet, I mean, the blue, you can see the winds coming in, but at 850, they're also coming in at about that same angle. So wind and hail are usually a bigger threat when you see this.
There's not a ton of turning of the winds with height, and so there's not that directional shear. But there is some speed shear. I mean, look, the surface winds, 15 miles per hour compared to up at 10,000 feet. You got 65 mile per hour winds. That's a lot of speed shear. So we will see, these big thunderstorm clouds building. Surface about, 2,000 feet. And then you get the inflow into the storms. Then you get the downdraft that comes in as it starts to rain, bringing down these winds that are about 65 miles per hour.
Yeah, so these are blowing. That can translate them to the ground. And the storm's also moving maybe 40 to 50 miles per hour, so you kind of double all that up.
All right, so we've got a busy day ahead with storms. Wind is going to be the main threat out there. We time it out for you. I mean, rain this morning with some embedded thunder and lightning causing that ground stop that Kelly was just talking about, but it's these storms later today that really could do some damage with
some discrete cells could be in there that we could see a little rotation on, so we will watch for those. Prepare to hit the beaches this spring, and it's deadly danger we want you to know about.
We're talking about rip currents, and just this weekend, a 16-year-old boy drowned after being caught in a rip current in Florida, and then near San Diego, the search continues for a 17-year-old, officials say, who was caught in a rip. You safe is Wyatt Werner, national spokesman for the American Lifeguard Association. Wyatt, thanks so much for joining here. We were just talking about that device that you're standing by, actually, to help people save a life during a rip current. Can you first just talk about what a rip current is?
People that are sitting on the beach and or in the water, there's signs that they can
People to do.
Association. Another thing you can do is swim parallel to the shore to get yourself out of the rip current and then swim in, because even an Olympic swimmer cannot outswim a rip current. Like Michael Phelps couldn't get back in.
Those rip currents can move at what, 30+ miles per hour? I mean, in some of the fastest speeds, so you cannot outswim that. I think it's counterintuitive sometimes, right, to stay in the water, but you really need to. Grew space lettuce this last time, right? That's a step, right? They're growing food in space. Space lettuce they harvested and ate. All right, let's talk about back home though, what we are watching from the ground, and it's been pretty stormy to start the year. This is the tornado count and where we are to date. We're going to keep tabs on this as we go through the season. We're at 483. That's much more like you might expect at the end of April or early May, right? That's sort of the number that we are at, and compared to average, we're well above the average of 251. It's been a busy start to the season. Also interesting is where we've seen a lot of active weather farther north, like Iowa and Illinois. You know, Wisconsin's already had a tornado. Michigan, you've already had 3, and this is an area that we're watching for storms even at this early hour. But by far, Texas is leading the list at 55, and Georgia coming in second at 54. Now today, the main threat with thunderstorms is actually not going to be tornadoes. It's going to be heavy rain, especially in the south. Strong winds up to the north. To the south, while we have that chance for storms, it may bring in some strong winds. We're especially concerned about big, heavy rainfall right across central Texas today. I-35 maybe just to the east of there. So here's a look at how things are going to play out. We've got a cold front that's in this area, and along this cold front, this helps provide the lift. The cold front is on the move so slightly. It's not going to make a lot of progress, and you can see it's not too much farther than maybe just to the east of Dallas as we get you into this evening, and then it gets stuck. And so we have a convergence of air right along that front. You can see it at the low levels. The air comes in like this. It hits the front, and the air is forced to rise. We will see thunderstorms continuing to form in much of the same area over and over again. And this air has so much moisture potential, so we're expecting big rain to happen every time it rains. Moisture potential out there today is on the order of an inch and a half, maybe even close to 2 inches. That's the precipitable water, and we see those higher numbers throughout much of central and eastern Texas, northern Louisiana. I looked at Shreveport for you tomorrow morning. Your numbers are up there pretty much as max as you get for this time of the year, if not even record breaking. So it's a lot of moisture in the atmosphere, and what it means when you have high precipitable water, if there's something to make it rain, it's going to keep wringing out that moisture, like wringing out a wet towel. But over and over again, it never really dries out, right? So that's the atmospheric situation we have going into this. The front comes in, it gets stuck, it keeps on raining, and we get, another 3 to 5 inches of rain pretty easily out of those thunderstorms. And then we get a break, but then there's another system ready to go. It's out here in the Pacific right now. It's tapping into lots of tropical moisture. It moves across the country, and as it comes into Texas again, this old boundary is still here, so it helps form another low. There's probably going to be a dry line that we see set up here by the time we get to Wednesday, and that will help spark thunderstorms. We could have a tornado risk by the time we get to Wednesday. That's something we've got to watch, dry line and play, but also this moisture is still here. So coming into Wednesday, again, we have a big rain threat as well. And in terms of tornadoes, the greatest risk area by this point in the season is normally a little farther north up into that more typical tornado alley. Steph?